You'll be having vital statistics for 18 marks in your final exam. You'll be having one 10-mark question, one 5-mark question, one 2-mark question, and one 1-mark question. The 10 and 5 marks are the problems part. 2 marks and 1 marks, it can be theory or sometimes it can be about problems. So now, before starting with the vital statistics, we'll learn what is demography. So demography, it is a study of human population. So anything if you study regarding the human population, we call it as demography. So in this chapter, we'll be studying only about the human population. What are the things that is occurring in the human population, that we will be studying it. So now vital statistics, there are many definitions, but you'll be studying it only 2 definitions, which is given by B. Benjamin. Benjamin has given the definition of vital statistics as: vital statistics are the conventionally numerical records of birth, marriage, death, sickness, by which health and growth of a community may be studied. So here the birth, death, marriage, sickness, what all it occurs, but that we can study how the population is growing or what is happening in the population. So that is nothing but vital statistics, where we are recording the data and then doing the analysis about that. So I'll repeat it once again. So B. Benjamin defined vital statistics as the numerical records of birth, death, marriage and sickness, by which health and growth of a community may be studied. One more definition given is: vital statistics are the numerical records, analysis and interpretation of vital events occurring in human population. So vital events, by vital events we mean the events of human life. So Benjamin defines vital statistics are conventionally the numerical records of marriage, birth, sickness and death, by which health and growth of a community may be studied. So here we'll be studying about the health and growth of a community, how they are developing, the health conditions, whether they are improving, and the population, whether it is growing or what. So if we study that, we call it as vital statistics. That is what Benjamin defined it. Or there is one more definition which is given, and we prefer this definition from the exam point of view. So vital statistics are numerical records, analysis and interpretation of numerical data of vital events occurring in human population. This is the same type of definition what you had learned in your first year, the definition of statistics. So prefer to use this one than the first definition. So here vital events, we have vital events. What do you mean by vital events? So vital events are the events of human life, the things that occur in any human life. So you can take the example regarding birth, death, marriage, divorce, separation, adoption, migration. So you may migrate from one place to another place. So all these things that occur in human life are called as vital events. They can ask this, what are the vital events, or mention any 2 vital events in 2-mark question. So mention any 2 vital events means you can write it as birth and death. That will be very easier. So what are vital events means? It is the events of human life. Vital statistics, or it can be also known as sources of vital statistics. How do you get that vital statistics data? First one is registration method. So first one is registration method, where it is continuous and compulsory method of recording the data. So this data is recorded by the Gram Panchayat office, municipal office, or the corporation offices. So you can take the example regarding the birth. Whenever birth occurs, it is necessary that we give the details like what is the sex of the child, the name, sometimes name will be not given at the starting. So name of the parents, address, religion, nationality, time of birth, date of birth, everything should be given at the starting itself as soon as the birth occur. In the same way, when the death occur, what is the cause of the death, time of death, then name of the person, parent's name, address, again the religion, nationality, all these details will be recorded so that we can have the birth certificate and the death certificate. So here registration method, so whenever it is occurring, it is compulsory to record it. So it is continuous and compulsory method of recording vital events. There are only few vital events which we recorded, like marriage, birth, death. All the vital events is not possible to record it. Then the second one is the census enumeration method, or just the census method. So you know already what is the census method. So in most of the countries, census is conducted usually once in 10 years, where we record the information regarding their educational qualification, occupational qualification, their marital status, how many persons are living at their home, the number of children, how their educational qualification, everything is recorded. So this is done only usually once in 10 years. So if you have to get the population in middle of the year, this method is not possible. And this method, registration method, will be good only when you record all the information, but all the vital events are not recorded, only few of the vital events are recorded. In the census method, you get the total population only once in 10 years. If you have to get in between, then you cannot use this method for knowing the complete population. For that one, we have, if we have to measure the population in between the years, in between the census years, we have the formula. So it is measurement of population, PT equals P0 plus B minus D plus I minus E, where this PT is the time, population at which time you wanted. P0 is the population in the previous census period. B is the number of birth from the census period till the time we wanted, and D is the number of death from the census period till the time we needed. I is number of immigrants into the region, and E is number of emigrants from the region. So how many persons have come from outside and how many persons are going from here? If we have that detail, birth and the death and the previous census period detail, then we can know the population at any time period T. So we'll be doing the problems based on the measurement of population, which you'll be having it for 2 marks in your final exam. So I've written the question here. Given the following data, estimate the population of your town at the end of 2013. So population at the end of 2012 is nothing but at the beginning of 2013. So it is 4 lakh it is given. So this is the P0 value. So P0 is 4 lakh. Number of birth in 2013 is 60,000. So B, birth is nothing but B. So it is 60,000. Next, number of death in 2013, it is 10,000. So D value is 10,000. Number of immigrants in 2013 is 20,000. So immigrants stand for I. So I is 20,000. And number of emigrants in 2013 is 4,000. So emigrants stand for E. So E is 4000. So this is what they have given. So first you have to write it in the symbolic form. Then we'll substitute in the formula and simplify it. So PT is P0 plus B minus D plus I minus E. So now substitute in this each value. So P0 is 4 lakh plus the birth value is 60,000. So 60,000 minus the death value 10,000 plus the immigrants and the emigrants value. So 20,000 minus 4,000. Now simplify each one. I'll write it here itself. 60,000 minus 10,000, you'll get 50,000. Then 20,000 minus 4,000, you'll get it as 16,000. So it is 4 lakh plus 50,000 plus 16,000. So when you add it, you'll get 4 lakh 66,000. So this is the population at the end of 2013. So this is how you measure the population when you have the intercensal year value if you have it. So census period value if you have, and the other birth, death, immigrants and emigrants value if you have it. So you can measure the population at any time period T. So next we'll be doing the next problem now. 2012. So I have written one more problem based on which you can find out the population at the end of 2012. So it is in the same manner we'll be doing it now. So given population at the end of 2011 is nothing but P0. So P0 value is 10,05,000. Then number of birth in 2012 is B. So B is 13,030. Number of death in 2012, I've given it as 10,000. So D is 10,000. Number of immigrants in 2012 is 65,000. So I is 65,000. And number of immigrants in 2012 is 20,000. So E is 20,000. So again now we'll substitute in the formula and calculate. So formula is PT equals P0 plus B minus D plus I minus E. So you can subtract it here itself. B minus D is 13,030 minus 10,000. We'll get it as 3,030. Same manner, I'll find out about the migration. So I minus E, 65,000 minus 20,000, you'll get it as 45,000. So now directly I'll substitute here. P0 value is 10,05,000 plus B minus D, it is 3,030 plus I minus E is 45,000. And when you add this one, you'll get 10,53,030. So this is the population at the end of 2012. So you'll be having this for 2 marks, where 1 mark carries the formula and 1 mark you'll be having it for the answer. So 1 mark will be for the formula, 1 mark for the answer. It doesn't mean that you can write the answer directly. So we'll see that also. You have to write all the steps and then write the answer. Then one more problem now, based on which one more problem we are doing it based on the measurement of population. So here I have written it directly, the values. So find PT, given P0 is 1,26,305. birth is 6,500, death is 4,050, immigrants are 8,065 and emigrants are 6,000. So here I'll first find out what is B minus D value. So it is 6,500 minus 4,050. So you'll get it as 2,450. Then I minus E, I value is 8,065 minus 6,000 will get 2,065. Now we'll substitute in the formula PT equals P0 plus B minus D plus I minus E. So I'll write here a solution so that you doesn't get confused where the question is ending. So here P0 value is 1,26,305 plus B minus D, I have done already here, it is 2,450 and I minus E is 2,065. And when you add this value, you'll get 1,30,820. So this is the population at time period T. So we don't know what is the time period, so we'll mention it as PT equals 1,30,820. So in uses of vital statistics, the first point is they are of great use in planning and evaluation of economic and social development of your country. So here you'll be studying it if anything that is occurring. So based on birth and death, you can know whether the population, how it is growing it, and based on the death, what are the causes of the death. If you learn that one, then the medical facilities can be improved. So like that, you can the country can be developed. So here they are of great use in planning it. So first itself they'll plan it, how to work it out. So planning and evaluation of economic and social development of your country. Then they are useful to government agencies for administrative purpose. Then they are useful in medical research. So in medical research, whether the medicine what they have used is effective or not, that can be studied. Then they are essential in demographic research. So starting itself I said what is demography, it is regarding the study of human population. So there since we are studying about the human population, so in that research it will be helpful. Then they are highly useful to an individual. So an individual's birth, death, marriage, whatever it is occurring it, since we are recording those details, so it is important for his or her lifetime. What are the things that is occurring in one's life that can be noted down. Then they are also of great use at the international point of view. So if we have to go abroad, we need the passport. So if you have to apply for the passport without the birth certificate, they will not give the passport. So for the birth certificate, we need all the details, where again vital statistics is important. Then next, so to know about the family welfare programs in the country, how well it is impactful. So to study that, again vital statistics is important. Then they are of useful in the actuarial science. So actuarial science is regarding the risk of the life insurance companies. So since we will be studying about the life insurance, so in the life insurance the premium will be regarding premium, will come to know it at what age group, what is the premium rates and all. So again here vital statistics are helpful. So these are the uses of vital statistics. I'll repeat it once again. So it is, they are of great use in planning and evaluation of social and economic development of your country. They are useful for the government for administrative purpose. They are useful in the medical research. They are useful in the demographic research, and they are useful for the individual, since all the details will be recorded. Then they are useful from the international point of view, then they are useful to know the impact of family welfare programs, then they are used in the life insurance companies to know at what age group what should be the rate of premium. So these are the uses of vital statistics. Again, it will be asked in 1 mark or the 2 mark questions. So 1 mark means you have to mention only 1 point, and if it is asked in 2 marks, you have to mention 2 points. So among this 8, you can learn 3 or 4 so that it is helpful for you. Now we'll be studying it. What are the things we'll be studying here? So in this chapter, we'll be studying only regarding the birth and death. So for birth, we call it as fertility, and for the death, we call it as mortality. So your syllabus is there only regarding the birth and death. So we have a birth, for that we call it as fertility, and death will be studying regarding that. So death is mortality. So fertility, what do you mean by fertility? So fertility is birth occurring to women of childbearing age. So birth occurring to women of childbearing age is called as fertility. So here childbearing age is the age group where a girl or a woman can give birth. So 15 to 49 years is generally called as the childbearing age group. So only from 15, a girl or a woman from the age group 15 to 49 years is called as the childbearing age group. It is also called as germination period. So maybe less than that or more than that, sometimes it occurs, but this is the actual age group what we take it. 15 to 49 is the childbearing age group. So it is also called as germination period. So in 1 marks they'll ask what is the childbearing age group. So the answer is 15 to 49 years. And even this definition, fertility, what do you mean by fertility? It will be asked in 1 mark. So birth occurring to women of childbearing age is the answer for that. Next we have fecundity. So fecundity is the capacity of a woman to bear children. So each and every woman will have the different capacity. So one woman can bear 1 child, few women can bear 2 children, 3 children, like that, and some women they cannot bear children at all. So what is the capacity of a woman to bear children is regarded as fecundity. So in this one, fertility, we have fertility rates, will call it as. So in fertility rates we have 4 divisions. One is the crude birth rate, the second one is general fertility rate, next age specific fertility rate, then the last one, total fertility rate. So crude birth rate, it is also called as CBR, then general fertility rate GFR, age specific fertility rate ASFR, then total fertility rate TFR. These are the 4 fertility rates. Again it is asked in 2 marks, mention any 2 fertility rates means you can mention any 4, among this any 4, any 2. So crude birth rate CBR, general fertility rate GFR, age specific fertility rate ASFR, total fertility rate TFR. In this one, I'll say it once again. What is fertility? So fertility refers to the birth occurring to women of childbearing age. So childbearing age is between 15 to 49, which is also called as germination period. Then fecundity, it is the capacity of a woman to bear children. So how many children a woman can bear? So that is nothing but fecundity. In fertility rates, we have 4 types. One is the crude birth rate, next general fertility rate, next age specific fertility rate, and the next one total fertility rate. So this is the simplest among all the fertility rates. According to the crude birth rate, it is in this will measure what is the number of birth occurring to 1000 individuals. So formula is number of live birth in a year divided by average population in a year into 1000. So in terms of symbol, we'll write it as B divided by P into 1000. So in this one, live birth means, so sometimes soon after the birth, the child will die. So that children are not considered here. Even after the birth, if the child is alive, so only those birth will take it. So number of live birth, and here average population is, will take the population in the beginning of the year, population in the beginning of the year plus population at the end of the year divided by 2. So we are taking the average. How do you find out the average? We'll add both and then divide by 2, same manner. So population in the beginning of the year plus population at the end of the year divided by 2. Sometimes if they have given just population, even then we'll assume that to be average population. So average population in a year is population in the beginning of the year plus population at the end of the year divided by 2. So this is the formula for calculating the crude birth rate, number of live birth in a year divided by average population in a year into 1000. So symbolically we'll write it as CBR equals B divided by P into 1000. So there are few advantages and disadvantages of this method. So in merits, so since we need only the birth and population, so it is easy to understand and simple to calculate. We doesn't need any extra information. Only if we have the birth detail and the total population, that is enough to calculate the crude birth rate. The disadvantage of this method is, so here we'll be in the CBR, we'll be calculating it for the whole age group, but here sometimes so in each age groups, so in the merits it is enough if we have the birth detail and the population, we doesn't need any extra information. And this is the only method by which the growth of a community may be studied. In any other fertility rates, we cannot study the growth of the population. In CBR, we can come to know it, what is the growth of the population. So in the demerits, in each age group, the birth rate will not be similar. It keeps on changing it. But in CBR, we'll take the complete age group and do it. So that is the disadvantage of this method. We doesn't consider the age group, and even the sex composition is not considered. So if there are more number of girl children who are born, then obviously the population, it will increase, because after some years they'll become the mothers. So because of that, the population will increase. So if there are more number of boy children, then the population may not increase so much as compared to the girl children's. And here we cannot, the age and sex composition is not considered, and this method cannot be used for comparing one or two you cannot compare it two or more population. So here you can study only about that particular place, but you cannot compare two or more population. If you have to compare, you have to use the other method. By using CBR, we cannot compare it. So this is the advantage and disadvantage of the crude birth rate. I'll say it once again. So in the crude birth rate, it is simple and easy to calculate. It does not need any detailed information, only birth and death information is enough. And by using crude birth rate, the growth of the population can be known. Since we are considering the whole population, the growth of the community may be easily known. And under the disadvantages, it ignores the age and sex composition. Since we are studying about the fertility, we have to take only the women population, but here we'll take even the male and the female population, both we are considering. And in this method, we cannot use to compare two or more population. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of the crude birth rate.